To address the issue with employers, begin by presenting facts and statistics. Share data on the dangers of synthetic materials in work clothes, emphasizing the potential for severe injury or death. Highlight the benefits of natural fibers, such as cotton and other natural materials, discussing their breathability, comfort, and flame resistance. Suggest alternatives such as using natural fiber blends or incorporating flame-resistant treatments into synthetic materials. Engage with safety professionals. Reach out to safety officers and industrial hygienists within companies, as they can provide valuable insights and support. Educate human resources departments, specifically informing human resources professionals responsible for employee safety and uniform policies. When influencing clothing manufacturers, contact industry organizations. Reach out to textile associations and trade groups that represent workwear manufacturers, discussing the safety concerns and advocating for the use of natural fibers. Support brands that prioritize safety by patronizing companies that offer 100% cotton or flame-resistant workwear options. Request product certifications by promoting the use of certifications that ensure work clothes meet safety standards for flame resistance and other hazards. Relevant standards and regulations to be aware of include ASTM D6413, which is the standard test method for flame resistance of textiles using a vertical test. NFPA 2112, which is the standard on flame-resistant clothing for protection of industrial personnel from flash fire. ANSI/ISO 118, which is the American national standard for flame-resistant clothing for protection of industrial workers from flash fire. Additional recommendations include encouraging employees to advocate for safety, empowering workers to voice concerns about synthetic work clothes and request alternatives. Consider legal action. In extreme cases, legal action may be necessary to hold employers responsible for providing safe workwear. Raise awareness through social media and public campaigns by sharing information and stories about the dangers of synthetic materials in work clothes to raise awareness among the public. It is important to understand the specific risks associated with synthetic materials in work environments. These materials, while often cheaper and easier to maintain, can pose significant hazards when exposed to heat, sparks, or flames. When synthetic fabrics like polyester or nylon ignite, they tend to melt and adhere to the skin, causing severe burns that can be much more extensive and deep than burns from natural fibers. This is due to the thermoplastic nature of these materials, which means they soften and melt when heated, rather than simply burning away like cotton or wool. Furthermore, the chemical composition of many synthetic fabrics can release toxic fumes when burned, posing an additional inhalation hazard to workers. In contrast, natural fibers such as cotton, linen, and wool offer several advantages in terms of safety. Cotton, for example, is relatively flame-resistant and will char rather than melt when exposed to heat. This charring effect can provide a protective layer that slows the spread of flames and reduces the amount of heat transferred to the skin. Wool is even more flame-resistant than cotton due to its high moisture content and natural crimp, which creates insulating air pockets. Wool also self-extinguishes, meaning it stops burning once the source of ignition is removed. Linen, while not as flame-resistant as wool, is stronger and more durable than cotton, making it a good choice for workwear that needs to withstand heavy use. When selecting workwear, it is essential to consider the specific hazards present in the work environment. For example, workers in welding, electrical work, or chemical handling should wear clothing made from flame-resistant materials that meet relevant safety standards. These standards, such as NFPA 2112 and ANSI/ISO 118, specify the performance requirements for flame-resistant clothing and ensure that the garments provide adequate protection against flash fires and other thermal hazards. It is also important to choose clothing that fits properly and allows for freedom of movement. Loose-fitting clothing can snag on equipment or machinery, while tight-fitting clothing can restrict blood flow and reduce comfort. Additionally, clothing should be made from breathable materials that allow moisture to escape, preventing overheating and discomfort. In addition to selecting appropriate workwear, employers should also implement comprehensive safety programs that educate workers about the hazards of synthetic materials and the importance of wearing protective clothing. These programs should include training on the proper use and maintenance of workwear, as well as procedures for responding to fire or other emergencies. Employers should also conduct regular risk assessments to identify potential hazards in the workplace and implement control measures to mitigate those risks. This may include providing flame-resistant workwear, installing fire suppression systems, and implementing safe work practices. Furthermore, employers should encourage workers to report any safety concerns or near-miss incidents. This can help identify potential hazards before they result in serious injuries or fatalities. By creating a culture of safety and empowering workers to take an active role in protecting themselves and their co-workers, employers can significantly reduce the risk of workplace accidents and injuries. To delve deeper into the technical aspects of flame resistance in textiles, it's beneficial to understand the underlying principles and testing methods used to evaluate the performance of different materials. Flame resistance is not an inherent property of all fabrics, rather, it is a characteristic achieved through specific treatments or the inherent properties of certain fibers. These treatments can involve the application of chemicals that alter the way the fabric burns, making it more difficult to ignite or slowing the spread of flames. The effectiveness of these treatments is assessed using standardized testing methods such as Aston D6413, which measures the flame resistance of textiles using a vertical test. This test involves suspending a sample of fabric vertically and exposing it to a controlled flame for a specified period. The time it takes for the fabric to ignite, the rate at which the flame spreads, and the after flame time are all measured and used to determine the fabric's flame resistance rating. Another important aspect of flame resistance is the concept of limiting oxygen index, or LOI. LOI is a measure of the minimum concentration of oxygen in an atmosphere that is required to support combustion of a material. Materials with a high LOI are more difficult to ignite and burn more slowly than materials with a low LOI. Natural fibers like cotton and wool have relatively low LOI values, while synthetic fibers like polyester and nylon have higher LOI values. However, the LOI of synthetic fibers can be improved through the application of flame retardant treatments. In addition to flame resistance, it is also important to consider the thermal protective performance, or TPP, of workwear. TPP is a measure of the amount of heat energy that a fabric can block before causing second-degree burns. TPP is typically measured using a standardized test method, such as NFPA 2112, which involves exposing a sample of fabric to a high-intensity heat source and measuring the temperature rise on the backside of the fabric. The higher the TPP rating, the more protective the fabric is against thermal hazards. When selecting flame-resistant workwear, it is important to choose garments that meet the specific requirements of the work environment. For example, workers who are exposed to flash fire hazard should wear clothing that meets the requirements of NFPA 2112, which specifies the performance requirements for flame-resistant clothing used in industrial settings. This standard includes requirements for flame resistance, thermal protective performance, and other important properties. It is also important to choose clothing that is comfortable to wear and allows for freedom of movement. Flame-resistant clothing can be hot and uncomfortable, especially in warm environments. Therefore, it is important to choose garments that are made from breathable materials and that fit properly. In addition to selecting appropriate workwear, it is also important to follow proper care and maintenance procedures. Flame-resistant clothing should be laundered according to the manufacturer's instructions. The use of harsh detergents or bleach can damage the flame-resistant properties of the fabric. It is also important to inspect flame-resistant clothing regularly for signs of wear and tear. Damaged or worn clothing should be replaced immediately. Understanding the relevant standards and regulations is crucial for ensuring workplace safety. These standards provide a framework for evaluating the performance of flame-resistant clothing and help employers select garments that provide adequate protection against thermal hazards. By following these standards and implementing comprehensive safety programs, employers can create a safer work environment for their employees and reduce the risk of workplace accidents and injuries. Beyond the technical aspects and standards, there's a significant role for advocacy and awareness in promoting the use of safer workwear. This involves educating both employers and employees about the risks associated with synthetic materials and the benefits of natural fibers or flame-resistant alternatives. One effective way to raise awareness is through social media and public campaigns. Sharing information and stories about the dangers of synthetic materials in work clothes can help to educate the public and put pressure on employers and manufacturers to prioritize safety. These campaigns can also highlight the companies that are already offering safer workwear options, encouraging consumers to support these brands. Another important aspect of advocacy is engaging with industry organizations and trade groups. By reaching out to these organizations, it is possible to influence the manufacturers of workwear and encourage them to adopt safer practices. This can involve advocating for the use of natural fibers or flame-resistant treatments in their products, as well as promoting the development of new and innovative safety technologies. In addition to advocacy, it is also important to empower workers to voice their concerns about the safety of their workwear. This can involve providing training on the hazards of synthetic materials and the importance of wearing protective clothing, as well as encouraging workers to report any safety concerns or near-miss incidents. By creating a culture of safety and empowering workers to take an active role in protecting themselves and their co-workers, employers can significantly reduce the risk of workplace accidents and injuries. In some cases, legal action may be necessary to hold employers responsible for providing safe workwear. If an employer fails to provide adequate protection to its employees, it may be liable for any injuries or damages that result. This can involve filing a lawsuit against the employer, as well as reporting the employer to regulatory agencies. Finally, it is important to remember that the issue of workwear safety is not just a matter of personal responsibility. It is also a matter of social justice. All workers have the right to a safe and healthy work environment, and employers have a responsibility to provide that environment. By working together to raise awareness, advocate for change, and hold employers accountable, it is possible to create a world where all workers are protected from the hazards of synthetic materials and work clothes. Consider also the economic aspects. While 100% cotton or treated natural fibers may have a higher upfront cost, the long-term benefits of reduced injuries, insurance claims, and improved worker morale can offset the initial investment. Employers should consider a cost-benefit analysis when evaluating workwear options, taking into account not only the initial purchase price but also the potential costs associated with accidents, injuries, and lost productivity. Moreover, investing in high-quality, durable workwear can also reduce the frequency of replacements, leading to further cost savings over time. It is also important to consider the environmental impact of different workwear options. Synthetic materials are often made from petroleum-based products, which contribute to climate change and other environmental problems. Natural fibers, on the other hand, are renewable and biodegradable, making them a more sustainable choice. By choosing workwear made from natural fibers, employers can reduce their environmental footprint and contribute to a more sustainable future. In addition to the environmental benefits, natural fibers also offer a number of performance advantages. Cotton, for example, is highly absorbent, making it a good choice for workwear worn in hot or humid environments. Wool is naturally water-repellent and breathable, making it a good choice for workwear worn in cold or wet environments. By choosing workwear made from natural fibers, employers can improve the comfort and performance of their employees, leading to increased productivity and job satisfaction. Ultimately, the decision of whether to use synthetic or natural fibers in workwear is a complex one that depends on a variety of factors. However, by carefully considering the safety, economic, environmental, and performance aspects of each option, employers can make informed decisions that protect their employees and benefit their bottom line. And remember, continuous vigilance and improvement are key. Regularly review safety protocols, seek feedback from employees, and stay updated on the latest advancements in workwear technology. By prioritizing safety and investing in the well-being of their workforce, employers can create a positive and productive work environment for all. The ongoing research and development in textile technology are constantly yielding new materials and treatments that enhance the safety and comfort of workwear. For instance, advancements in flame-retardant treatments have made it possible to create synthetic fabrics that offer a high level of protection against thermal hazards without sacrificing comfort or breathability. Similarly, researchers are developing new natural fiber blends that combine the best properties of different fibers, such as the strength of linen with the softness of cotton. Staying informed about these advancements and incorporating them into workwear selection can help employers provide their employees with the best possible protection. Furthermore, the use of smart textiles is also gaining traction in the workwear industry. Smart textiles are fabrics that incorporate electronic components, such as sensors and actuators, to provide additional functionality. For example, smart workwear can be equipped with sensors that monitor a worker's vital signs, detect hazardous conditions, or track their location. This information can be used to improve worker safety, enhance productivity, and provide real-time feedback to supervisors. In addition to the technological advancements, there is also a growing trend towards customization in the workwear industry. Employers are increasingly seeking out workwear that is tailored to the specific needs of their workforce. This can involve selecting garments that are designed for specific tasks such as welding or electrical work, or customizing the fit and features of garments to improve comfort and mobility. By offering customized workwear options, employers can demonstrate their commitment to the well-being of their employees and create a more positive and productive work environment. In conclusion, the issue of synthetic materials in work clothes is a complex one that requires a multifaceted approach. By presenting facts and statistics, highlighting the benefits of natural fibers, engaging with safety professionals, educating human resources departments, influencing clothing manufacturers, supporting brands that prioritize safety, requesting product certifications, encouraging employees to advocate for safety, considering legal action, raising awareness through social media and public campaigns, and staying updated on the latest advancements in textile technology, it is possible to create a safer and more sustainable work environment for all.